This is MBTI. But folks, this is cognitive functions. If MBTI is the label of your personality type, then cognitive functions is the syntax code to get the label. Without it, your personality profile is like a person just learning how to speak a new language. Incorrectly. First off, a type is being judged on a spectrum. When saying that out loud, do you know how much sense that doesn't make? Like, what happens if you get 50% on one result? 50% extrovert, 50% introvert? This?
I don't think I'm an extrovert though. No, seriously, I can spend days alone. I love spending time alone. Like, I wish I was alone right now. I'm an introvert. This is a lie.
Shoot. What about everything else? What happens if I get 50% on every other criteria?
NANI?!
Let's look at the results, folks. Oh, this is rigged. Every answer was neutral. What? How can I have 53%, 58%, 51%, 51%?
A few moments later.
Look at this cheese. I got ISTP T again. No, don't send me these results.
A few moments later.
And of course, we got the ISTP T again. Well, at least I'll give them props that they're consistently rigged. All right, just check right there. We're looking at the other pages. Same result. Okay. We're looking at the other page. Yep, same result. Yeah, this system is terrible. Horrible. All right, so now what? Eliminate these tactics and identity nonsense because that's in the way. Number two, keep the thinking, feeling, and sensing and intuition categories because you judge with logic and values and you perceive the tangible reality in the abstract. Although it is missing something. Number three, don't judge introversion or extroversion in the social spectrum so we can get rid of this ambivert confusion that's thrown us off. Rather, introversion and extroversion are like units. They lack meaning without measurements. For example, if you say 5, like 5 what? 5 apples? 5 oranges? So if you're introverted, okay, sure, but how do you spend that energy? In your thinking, feeling, sensing, or intuition? Do the same thing for extroversion. And oh wait, congratulations. You have 8 cognitive functions. There are 4 judging functions, the functions you use to decide. 1, introverted feeling, or FI, introverted thinking, or TI. We have extroverted feeling, then extroverted thinking. Now, there are 4 perceiving functions, the functions you use to observe. Number 1, introverted sensing. Number 2, introverted intuition. Number 3, extroverted sensing. Number 4, extroverted intuition. Here's this cheat sheet for more details. We got the cognitive functions locked down. However, the brain has to find a way to collaborate these functions effectively, and that's where cognitive access comes in. We got 4 of them, 2 for deciders and 2 for observers. How does it work? Opposite category of judgment or perception, and reverse introversion and extroversion. For a proper definition of cognitive access, here's this clip.
A cognitive axis is communication between 2 functions. Specifically, it is a kind of cause and effect in how our minds perceive and judge the world. Our minds are not stagnant. Using one function engages another function. No function can be used in isolation. Think of it like this. Breathing. It is the vital rhythm that keeps us alive. It serves as the metaphor for a cognitive axis. Breathing is one act, but there are 2 parts. You got the part where you're inhaling. You take in air. And then you exhale, where you release air. But we don't inhale without exhaling, or exhale without inhaling. We breathe. And breathing is a cognitive axis.
So you got 1 mind, 2 figurative hemispheres in the brain, 4 cognitive axes, 8 cognitive functions, 16 personality types.
2 seconds later.
Cognitive slots. The order from 1 to 8 in which the cognitive functions are allocated in each type. The higher the priority, the more you pay attention to it. One thing positive I will say about MBTI is that it made labeling personality types far more convenient. First two functions, the hero and the parent, are the ones that give you the label for the type. For example, using the INFJ here, introverted intuition and extroverted feeling are their first two functions. Therefore, you get the NF. Why do you get the I? Well, the first function is introverted. Therefore, you get the I, so you get INF. But then for the J, in order for you to get it, it's a little weird, but you kind of have to go back to the definitions of MBTI, the tactics, and how it talks about your approach to planning. And basically, you get the J because your OI, or your introverted observer function, in this case, introverted intuition, has a higher priority than the OE, extroverted observer function, in this case, extroverted sensing for the INFJ. And to get the P, it would be vice versa. Each type has their top 4 cognitive functions that you are consciously aware of, called ego-syntonic, is in your cognitive stack, and the bottom 4 that you are unconsciously aware of, that it isn't in your stack, ego-dyssyntonic or shadow functions. Then there are the 4 cognitive gateways. That is your hero, your first function, inferior, your fourth function, the nemesis, the fifth function, the demon, the eighth function, which opens the door to the 4 sides of the mind, or cognitive transitions, if you want to call it, that trigger upon certain situations dependent on the functions. So we have the ego, which is normal, subconscious is aspirational, the unconscious is overly critical, and the superego is radical.
1 week later.
As you can tell, I've been struggling. Just been trying to see what to say, and for some reason, nothing's really coming out. Instead, this conversation is coming out rather than actually explaining what's actually going on throughout these pictures. Oh well. Well, here's the thing. The one thing I will say is, no, but actually, what I really will say is just check my homepage for more details, and that's all you really have to do. The pictures themselves are already somewhat self-explanatory in a sense, but either way, if I were to explain it, it would take years to explain. But this is an overview, and I'm not trying to take years to explain something that already took me 2 weeks to explain. So, in this process, just accept this, and I'm gonna just head out. Gonna go check out for more details.